Well, Mike, that's a great one. And, thanks for starting out with P90, moving on to X2 and 3 and X and one-on-ones and the big picture. And, dude, you are me and I am you and cuckoo cuckoo. We are both walrus. Hi, Mrs. Horton.
Hey, Mr. H.
What's up? I love your top, first of all.
Well, thank you very much. And hello to everybody else.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us for Tony Talks. We've got more of your questions and a really great story that Tony's going to share with you. And Tony should dig right in.
I'm digging in right now. So this is from John from Westerville, Ohio. And so sit back, relax. I hope you enjoy the story. Hey, Tony, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but I wanted to reach out to thank you for all you do to help people get their minds and bodies right. I was in a pretty bad rut over the past year. I got promoted at work, which is nice. But I went from being on my feet and active on a job to riding a desk all day. I had a lot of added stress and started eating more often and less healthy. Not good, he writes. I also started knocking back a few beers every night when I finally got home just to take off the edge. The result is I went from an ideal, comfortable 185 pounds to up to around 235 pounds. And that's a lot of extra weight to carry around on a frame that's only 5 foot 10 inches tall. My mind was foggy, I was in pain all the time, and I wasn't sleeping well, and I just felt like an old man trapped in a 37-year-old body. Ugh. I started to worry about my health, but I couldn't seem to get away from all those bad habits. It was tough. It was a tough time, and it was a low point for me. And I would think about how I used to do P90X every day when I was in my 20s and how good I felt after finishing those routines each day. I wanted to take action, but I knew I couldn't just jump right back into that. I looked you up on YouTube to see if there was any other beginner routines that you had done recently, and I came across the ad for the Next Level. Next Level to the rescue. I signed up for Prime, subscribed, watched the How to Level Up video, and I got so pumped to get started. This is cool. That was a couple of weeks ago, and I already feel better. I don't really weigh myself, but I'm making better decisions with food. I haven't been drinking beer much at all. Maybe one on a Saturday night. I sleep better, I'm moving better, my mood is better, everything is just ... better. I'm highly motivated to make these routines a regular part of my life, and I appreciate you so much for making those resources available. I love the extended warm-ups and cool-downs, and I've done other routines where you only get 90 seconds on either end for those, and that's just not enough time. Well, I agree very much, John. I also appreciate the longer sessions. They can be tough, but are always very rewarding. Amazing. I could go on, but really I just wanted to add my voice to the countless others who have found what they needed in the programs that you've created. For me, the Next Level is exactly what I needed in my life, and I truly appreciate the effort and the care that you put into it. Thank you so much! Exclamation point, John. John, you are welcome.
Right on.
Yeah. So, thank you, John, and maybe a lot of you haven't discovered the Next Level yet, and you go to Guy on TV Fit and Yoga, and you sign up, and if you have Roku or Amazon Prime, or there's a lot of different venues,
Cox,
Spectrum, Vios. We don't have it in Canada or Europe yet, so I apologize for that. But they're working on it. A lot of T's to cross and I's to dot to do that. But for those of you that can get it, give it a try. Thank you, John.
Yes. All right.
It's question time, and I'm ready to go.
First question. Ready?
Go.
Okay. This one comes from Reed in California. He says, "Hey Tony, my question is about food. Everybody wants to know about the food. I eat following the anything healthitarian approach that you've talked about a lot."
Healthitarian?
Healthitarian.
I like that. I'm stealing that, Reed.
He says you talked about it. Maybe he saw it.
Maybe I did say healthitarian.
And you're just getting old.
That could be my
forgetful.
thing. Probably.
Okay. I try to have mostly veggies with the fruit, lean protein, etc. But here's my question. For someone who is a youngster in his 20s and may not be a great chef, how do you keep food interesting? Tony wonders the same thing. I'll eat broccoli and spinach and carrots and the cauliflower, but it gets a bit old after a few months. I know Mrs. H is an incredible cook. Any tips for someone who doesn't have a Mrs. H, or maybe how did Mrs. H learn to cook? I want to do my best to commit to health and wellness now while I'm young so I can be around and be fun for my kids and my grandkids, and I know food is a huge part of it. Thanks for your help. Hashtag aging is for idiots.
Reed, you're a renaissance man for a guy in his
Seriously.
20s. That's incredible. You know, I didn't figure this stuff out so much later, so congratulations to you for that. And first of all, my first answer is find yourself your own Mrs. H. You know what I mean? I mean, go in search of. But, you know, this was a real conundrum for me as well in my 20s and 30s and 40s, you know, when I was single. I don't cook, and if you don't cook, it's really, really difficult. So what I had to do was I had to look locally at all the restaurants that would deliver to my apartment when I lived in an apartment at the time. And I just found the ones that did, and the ones that didn't, I would go and I'd do a pickup, right? I would just call on the phone, I'd go pick up the food. And I don't know if you live in a big town or small. I mean, I live in LA, so I have lots of options. And if you live in a small town, it might be harder, right? So, and the other thing too is, let's say you don't have those options. You don't have a lot of places that can deliver other than, you know, Domino's and some other kind of places, right? So you've got to learn how to cook maybe your top 5 favorite meals. And so, you know, Shauna, we're going to do a segment on spices coming up. So pay attention to that as well, because she'll talk about how to make bland food taste good just through it. We only have her top 6 here on this table behind us. So A, find your own Mrs. H. B, find the restaurants locally that that either you can pick the food up or have the food delivered. The healthy ones, you already seem like you know what to do. You're eating the fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Keep doing that. And so the other thing too is there's a lot of companies right now that are making some frozen foods that aren't too bad. We're going to be working with a company shortly, I think, fingers crossed, that do home deliveries, and I think they're pretty much covering the entire country and within the next 3 weeks. So this will go out fairly soon here, I think sometime in July 2020, this particular Tony Talk. So stay tuned for that announcement. That's going to be a big deal. And we're working on Tony Horton discounts for that particular company that's going to be delivering. So maybe that'll answer all your questions, Reed. Good question, thank you.
Or I can help you. If you don't have a Mrs. H. So I started cooking with my grandmother on a step stool. We make chocolate chip cookies together. And I loved cooking ever since. So now I cook. Let me give you the basic ingredients. I brought these out just for you.
This is for me.
This is for me.
I thought this was for someone else.
No, this is for me.
My apologies.
So if you want to take, you want to easy make vegetables taste better. Penzies sandwich sprinkle. It's kind of a little medley of the basics.
Dude. And everything in here is super, yeah. If you put this on popcorn, forget about it. Okay, you put it on a sandwich, forget about it. A salad, forget about it. Just sprinkle it on steamed vegetables.
So flavorful.
Penzies sandwich sprinkle. It doesn't have to just be sandwich. Awesome.
That's right. And if you're just looking to, you can saute up some garlic. If you have fresh garlic, fresh onions, saute that with a little bit of avocado oil or coconut oil, and throw your veggies in there, toss them all up together. That will make your vegetables taste better.
Simple.
It's so simple.
Ridiculous.
And then my go-to, I love to make Tony lentil tacos. My go-to is garlic.
Is that powdered or granular?
This is granular.
Okay.
I prefer granular garlic. I don't know why I've always used granular. Cumin is also a staple in my spice rack. Cayenne pepper, crushed red pepper flakes. I love Mexican food, so that's why those are staples.
And you can put that on Italian food too.
That's right. And another way to get a lot of vegetables in is to make either a chili with a little bit of meat and a ton of vegetables. Put squash, tomatoes, mushrooms, onions, garlic. What did our last one have? Red bell pepper, celery. That might have been about it for the chili. And then add chili powder, cumin, salt and pepper, a tiny bit of cayenne, and you've got chili. If you want to make a curry, that's another one of my staples that I always have, curry powder. You put tons of vegetables in, whatever your favorites are. Again, squash, eggplant, onion, whatever, broccoli, cauliflower. Put them all in a big pot, add some coconut milk, add tons of curry, you've got curry. So you don't have to be a great cook to make things taste good and get in all your veggies. So that's my advice to you.
Reed, you're covered, buddy. Got no more excuses. Awesome. All right, Mrs. H, what do you got next?
All right, our next question comes from Holly, and Holly didn't tell us where she's from.
Dang it.
But she says, hello, I am 2 weeks away from finally finishing P90X after trying to do it 3 to 4 times within the last 10 years. I'm 40 years old and I just had my second child about a year ago, and since the pandemic I've decided to go back to what was challenging and regimented but not boring, and that was P90X.
Ta-da!
I'm getting stronger, losing inches, feeling good, but I haven't noticed any significant weight loss. Thanks, or that's really secondary to me, but as I'm finishing up the program I need to make sure that it is part of the next phase, and I need some direction from you. I believe Tony was in his early 40s during the time that he was taping this, so I'm down with no grizzle game, as he used to say. Must be something you said in
I must have said that. I'm trying to remember having said that.
Ah, your memory's going.
Well, that was 100 years ago.
As I'm approaching that stage of my life, do you have any suggestions? It would be greatly appreciated. Most sincerely, Holly.
Holly. Well, first of all, thank you for almost being done with P90X. And, you know, if there was ever a time to be strong, it's right now during quarantine, right? A lot of people have extra time and they're making extra commitments because they understand the importance of health and wellness and fitness and all of it. And you've done that, so congratulations to you. And I think you've got your priorities straight, really, when it comes to what's important here. And I have to say, I think it was your note about P90X that's got Shauna wanting to try it again, which is, which is kind of cool. So, you know what? The weight loss thing, I don't know if I don't really get a sense that's a massive priority for you. And so, you know, I would just say if you're noticing changes, physical, mental, and emotional changes above and beyond the numbers on the scale, then, you know, I would just say keep going. And the one thing about P90X for women that is different for men, and partly because men have close to 40 times the testosterone that women have. We're just natural muscle builders and fat burners, and we're just kind of designed that way. And women aren't designed the same way, you know. I mean, it's a matter of testosterone versus estrogen and all the things that go on chemically inside of our bodies, male and female. And we noticed that when we extended the original P90X test group way back in, I can't tell you how long ago it was, that when we got past day 90, the women were getting phenomenal changes from day 90 to day 120.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was really, for a lot of people, and you know, you don't want to advertise it that way, hey, try P90X, except for women, it's P120X. You know what I mean? So, and that's just the truth. And you know what I've noticed just in general when it comes to both men and women is that sometimes it takes 3, 4, 5 months for your body to really adapt to these massive changes.
It's true.
Right? I mean, Sean, I can tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
Like, nothing happening. All right, husband, is this really gonna, I go, yeah, stick with it, baby. And then she does, it's like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? We want so much so quickly, but it sounds like to me, in general, that's not important to you, which makes you very wise for having only lived for 14,000 lifetimes. So congratulations. But a lot of people are really thrilled that you're asking this question because they're having the same issues. Like, I'm doing it, I feel better, and this is changing, and that's changing, but I don't really notice numbers on the scale. The numbers on the scale are the last really most important thing. It's your health, it's your wellness, it's your purpose, it's your plan, it's staying accountable, it's creating this rhythm in your life that changes who you are, not only physically but mentally and emotionally, and you're doing all that, which is amazing. I would just say keep doing what you're doing. You might want to turn up the volume a little bit, you know, push it a little bit harder with cardio, lift weights that are maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds heavier than you're doing, you know what I mean? Add more repetitions if there's a place for you to do that. Because you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result because you'll end up plateauing. I hope that answer helps. It sounds like you're on the right track, so rock on.
All right, thank you, Holly.
Holly.
Next question is from Justin in Orlando, Florida. And he says, hi guys, huge fan. I've been doing your programs from the P90X days and beyond. I let some personal things get in the way a few years back, but I started up 2 years ago. Couldn't lose much weight. I got back to counting macros and calories when we all went into quarantine, and I'm down 20 pounds.
Oh.
Way to go. Doing next level. Running and your live workouts. Haven't missed one yet.
Yay!
My question is about dieting. Another question about the food. Everybody wants the food.
All right. Well, I hope I haven't answered it already, but maybe there's some nuance here.
Should I be eating just as much on rest days as I am on my heavy workout days? So that's a different question.
Well, you know, see, that's a tough one because everybody's different, right? I mean, I can tell you my story. And my story is that I'm pretty consistent calorie-wise almost every other day. My big issue is sometimes I don't eat enough food. You know what I mean? And every time I get my blood work and I talk to my nutritionist, it always comes back, you're malnourished and you're dehydrated, right? So, I mean, I'm kidding, but to a certain extent, you know, I don't eat enough meals. So, Shauna actually, what she did for me is she set alarms on my phone to remind me to drink water, like 6 to 8 ounces, not a lot, every 2 hours, and to eat some kind of food every 3 hours. And a lot of people think, oh my God, I go 5-6 hours without eating any food, right? So you want to be consistent that way. You want that pattern in your life where you're doing whatever, eating healthy food, but also eating healthy food regularly throughout the day. I'll tell you, anybody I know who's a grazer, people who just, oh, I'm hungry right now, I'm going to do a handful of this. I'm hungry right now, I'm going to do a handful of this, as opposed to sitting down to a massive meal.
It revs up your metabolism.
It certainly does. It certainly does. So I think the short answer is you're exercising on a regular basis. You're doing a lot of things already right. Anything you want to add to that?
I would say, if you're hungry, eat.
Yeah.
And eat slowly, eat mindfully, and stop when you are feeling satiated. Don't overeat.
And on the days you're not working out, don't feel compelled to eat a bunch of food. You know what I mean? Because you're not burning calories on that given day. If you train really hard the day before, there's still some remnant calorie burning going on the following day. But exactly right. Eat when you're hungry. Keep your meals relatively small. Don't go big periods of time with no food and then finish the day. It's where eating huge meals at the end of the day is never very productive for anybody, right? That's going to cause weight gain. You're not going to sleep well. Your metabolism's going to be out of whack. For me, I work out 5 to 6 days a week, and even on my day off, I eat very similar to the days I train. Because I have a lot of lean, hard muscle mass. I have very little body fat, so that works for me. And
Let's feed the beast.
gotta feed even the baby arm. It's the baby arm. All right, hope that helped.
Okay. Next question is from Magda in Juan of Virginia.
Magda
And Juan of Virginia. And another question came in from Val and her husband that was almost identical. So this will answer all of their questions.
It's a forfer, boys and
It's a
girls.
forfer. We love forfers. Hi, Tony and Shauna. We love you both. Oh, thank you.
Probably Sean more. I do.
My hubby and I practically grew up with P90X workouts and still have them on DVD. We also join you on most Facebook Live workouts.
Love it.
How have your workouts changed as you've aged to prevent injury? I'm only asking for a friend. No, in all seriousness, we're just trying to prevent joint and ligament injuries. I've been lucky in that respect, but my hubs has already hurt his knee and one of his ankles very badly on numerous occasions, and I don't want to follow suit. So do you recommend using a knee or ankle braces as preventative measures or doing something else? Thank you so much, Magda and Juan. Lots of love for Virginia.
Thank you, Magda and Juan. This is a two-part question. First of all, how have I changed over the course of the many years? When I first started out, I was a cardio junkie and I was a weightlifter. And that's how I was introduced to fitness, and sometimes I would do both of those things in the same day because I didn't have a job, probably most of the time. I was young and I was ambitious and I didn't get as sore as quickly or as often because I was young, and it really helped in those days. And then it's morphed over the course of the years. I kind of separate cardio days from weight days now. I don't do them on the same day. And I don't necessarily lift weights as much anymore. I mean, I do occasionally, like once a week, I'll throw in some military presses or some bench presses. But I haven't done any weightlifting exercises for my legs in 25 years. And they've never been stronger purely because of cardio twice a week and plyometrics once a week. So that covers my lower half. And now I'm more into body weight stuff than ever because I find it more interesting. I find it more challenging. It's more skill based. I have a peg beam in my I-beam, a pegboard in my I-beam above my head. I have got peg beams and ropes outside. I've got a high bar. I got parallel bars. I got a ninja course, right? So I find it just more interesting to kind of make my way through these different things, because there's a lot of a challenge, a lot of skill. And I find myself less hurt less often, and that's important as well. I still go to the track occasionally and try to run as fast as I can. I can't run as fast as I used to. And so things do change, and that's just the nature of who we are as people. I think a lot of people my age start getting into the pool. They're doing plenty of Pilates, they're doing plenty of yoga. That's a critical part to my fitness and well-being and injury prevention. And so those are things, if you're not doing regular yoga practice. And then of course you've got your foam rolling, and you've got your Epsom salt baths and infrared saunas and Theraguns and all the different things you want to use for rehab. Micros, all your vitamins, all your supplements, those types of things should aid in rest and recovery, helping your body, A, do exercises better, and B, allow your body to recover over the course of 24 hours so you can come back the next day. And then diet has a lot to do with it. It's all about inflammation, right? So that knee is bad because it's inflamed. And why is it inflamed? You could have, like Shauna's got a very slight meniscus tear. It's not bad. It's not one of those things where it needs operation. It just needs rest. So does a knee brace help you cheat through an exercise? I'm getting into the second part of your question. Maybe I wear one when I go on long trail runs. It seems to help a little bit, but it's kind of a hit and miss thing, right? I would go see an orthopedics person. Shauna had her virtual call with a top LA orthopedist, and she's going to go get an MRI. I mean, I've had Synvisc and PRP injected in both my knees on 3 separate occasions. Because I don't have any tears, I just have bone on bone because I'm 62 years old. I've been doing plyometrics for the last 35 years. All right, but my weight is down, my legs, my muscles are strong. So these are things that I can personally do to keep that bone on bone problem becoming more arthritic and preventing arthritis, bursitis, and tendonitis and things like that. And so a little bit of science, a little bit of diet, a little bit of micros, a little bit of rehab, and then making some changes in your fitness so you're not carrying a big load around, like doing squats with weights or leg curls or leg extensions with weights. I don't know, man. Just move like an athlete does. Do my Wednesday plyo and do the modifiers, and you'll have less issues. So that's a 2-pronged question and a multi-pronged answer. I hope that helped.
All right.
Yeah.
Next one comes from Mike Mancuso in the Bronx, New York.
Yeah, how you doing, man? Mike.
He says, "Hi Tony and Shauna. I'm a 32-year-old IT professional who started seriously and consistently exercising in 2016 with your program P90. Since then, I've graduated to X2, X3, P90X, your one-on-ones. I love the motivation and attitude you bring to the table. I also clicked with your general philosophy after reading the big picture, so I'm, in short, a huge fan."
Dude! Mike! From the Bronx!
So my question relates to your exercise development, program development. He wants to know, as the viewers, you get some pretty good insight via your one-on-one videos, but when you're developing a multifunctional move for a program, is it just you and a piece of paper and a pen, or do you have a team behind you vetting and critiquing each exercise you bring to the table?
End of question. Well, Mike, that's a great one, and thanks for starting out with P90 and moving on to X2 and 3 and X and one-on-ones and the big picture. And dude, you are me and I am you and cuckoo cuckoo. We are both walrus. Google that if you don't know anything about the Beatles. And so workout development just comes from my desire to help people prevent 3 things from happening. And those 3 things are boredom, injuries, and the plateau effect, right? And so the reason why most people stop exercising is because of boredom, injuries, and the plateau effect. So the idea here is to prevent those 3 things from happening so that you can continue to do what you need to do to keep pushing the envelope like you have. I mean, if you look at the difference between P90 and P90X2, it's day and night. And so, that's why there's so much variety in P90X and so much variety in X2 and so much variety in 22-minute hardcore and all of them. Because, I had a lot of celebrity trainers that, had management that was looking down on me saying, hey man, this is a lot of stake here. This person's a movie star, they need to be ready for a film, or this rock and roller needs to be ready for a tour. And so, you get people who are famous with a lot of, sycophants around them. They're always eyeballing you. So I was making sure that everybody, all of them had heavy bags and heart monitors, and we're doing yoga and the right kind of cardio and doing body weight exercises. And so I was basically using my clients before I became anybody as guinea pigs for what you're all doing now. And so I just like reinventing the wheel, you know what I mean? And sometimes it is just me and a piece of paper going, or I'll just think, oh my God, wait a minute, what if I take a burpee and I add a side arm balance and then I tag a yoga move to the end of that? You know what I mean? I think it's really fascinating to sort of combine moves. And then I like naming things, like the Condon curl and Pfeiffer scissors, and there's so many fun ways to
Joel
make
jumps.
The Joel jumps, yeah, there's a lot of different fun things. And so I've always been very fascinated by that, and I think that's one of the reasons why at 62 years old, I'm fairly uninjured, and I'm still as strong or stronger than I've ever been, you know, there's some exercises where I can't squat as much or I can't bench as much, but those things aren't important to me anymore. But I can do a hell of a lot of pull-ups and push-ups, and I can go up and down a pegboard like I'm on the moon. You know what I mean? So I'm always, you know, I'm sort of that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or is it Dr.
No, that's
Jekyll
right.
and Mr. Hyde?
I don't know.
It's one of the two. And I just like experimentation, and I understand that, you know, fitness is always changing, and I try to change with it. And I try to not only do that, but try to be a trend setter as well. And so, yeah, sometimes it is a collaborative thing. I worked with Stephanie Saunders at Beachbody for years. She was my fit tech, so to speak, because I would come up with some moves, and she would check with the lawyers, and the lawyers would go, yeah, no, you can't do that, dude. You know what I mean? So they would teach me to back off. But for the most part now, you know, now that I'm sort of on my own, you know, with Gaiam, for example, I had some help with that. I had some real good, you know, I would come up with these sequences, and they would come up with sequences. We all get together in a room, and I would say, okay, too many reps, not enough weight, I don't like that move, where's the modifier, boom, 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 you know what I mean? So that's kind of where we are right now. And I'll be working with Tonal. I don't know if you're familiar with Tonal, but Tonal is this amazing device that is almost every exercise you can do. Resistance type exercises, you know what I mean? So, you know, things that would involve a lat pull machine or dumbbells or a bench press or a hack squat machine, it's all done there. So we'll be in development with them very soon. I'm looking forward to that. That's cool. But great question. Keep doing what you're doing. All right, fantastic.
Cool. This is our very last question. And I actually just added this one because I thought it was kind of important. I have a feeling there's probably a lot of people out there.
I don't think I know what this question is.
Feeling this way.
Oh, going in blind.
This question comes from Blaine in Texas.
Blaine.
And he says, hello, Mr. Horton. I know this isn't a conventional message, but I'm not sure how else to contact you. I'm a healthy adult in his early 20s who has used your P90 program in the past with great success, but this story isn't the purpose of my message. I have a friend who, to put it frankly, is extremely unhealthy. He just graduated college and he's spending his time in quarantine living at home with his family. He has zero drive to better himself and has explicitly stated that I do not really care about being healthy. So my friends and I are extremely concerned about him and we don't know what to do. I was planning on anonymously gifting my copy of P90 and including a fake letter about him or his family winning a contest. But I don't know of a way to give it to him without him feeling like he's being looked down on for his current lifestyle, and he's probably smart enough to know that one of his friends sent it to him. So I'm messaging you in hopes that there's some kind of Tony Horton words of magic that you can send my way that will help my friend. Thank you.
You snuck one in on me there, Mrs. H. You know, I get some version of this question all of the time. Hey, Tony, you know, my mom's really struggling, and you know, she sees my changes, and you know what I mean? But, you know, she'll inquire.
It's spouse, right?
It's spouses, it's moms and dads, it's sisters and brothers, it's friends, it's coworkers, it's across the board. And every time I give an answer, and the answer is universal on this, there are nuances, and I'll get into those. But I would say, first off, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't get them to drink, you know? And that's just true. Because what happens is your best advice with all the right words where the intentions are filled with nothing but love and encouragement is often 99.4.3% received with resentment. Shauna will tell you, when we first started dating, hey honey, how about you, and you know what? All it did was this to us. It created separation. So I'm gonna never forget, and this is a true story, you know, whatever. I don't know if you were eating something or you hadn't worked out and I thought you should have or whatever. And you turned to me and you said, you're not my dad. You're my boyfriend at the time. And I said, I don't need another dad. Thank you very much. And that's all I needed to hear. And I don't think I've ever bugged you since. Well, maybe once or twice.
But he's learned. It's been a while. It's been a long while.
The worst kind of advice to give is the kind that's never been asked for in the first place, because if you do, your greatest intentions will be received with resentment. And so here you are trying to do something for your friend, and you're going to end up going further and further apart. Because they want no part of what you're doing right now. It's like trying to tell somebody who drinks too much to stop drinking. They're going to stop when they're ready to stop, all right? And all you can do is live by example, and all your friends can do is live by example. And all you can do is invite him to workouts, and all you can do is take him to healthy restaurants to eat, and make sure that food, wherever you're taking him, is going to taste pretty damn good, so he's going to want to eat it again. And that's really all you can do, man. You can't do any more than that, and I know that's not the right answer that you want, and I wish I had the magic words for you. But it is what it is, man. I mean, my own mother, who was, she was struggling with Parkinson's and lung cancer. There were some things that she could have been doing to lengthen her life, and she just didn't want to hear it. Wasn't ready for it. So, and it's a bummer because that was my mom. You know what I mean? It was really hard to watch that happen. And so, to finish on a high note, just live by example, my man. You know what I mean? And be his friend. Be his friend as much or more now than ever, regardless of whatever his choices are when it comes to his health and wellness. Period. I'll tell you a little side story. I'm working out with this kid right now. I don't want to give away his name. But when I met him when he was 9, 10, 11, and he used to come with his uncle. His uncle was one of my workout partners. When we used to work out, it was the last place he wanted to be. I could tell. He was just along for the ride because he was there with his other cousins. He wanted to hang out with his cousins, but he didn't want to do all the fitness stuff, right? And he gained some weight, and he struggled a lot, and he struggled with some other issues as well. And then at one point, it was time. I mean, he got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And as he got into his 20s, early 20s and mid-20s, he just made a change. And he did it on his own without anybody pushing him. And now to watch this kid is awesome. You know what I'm talking about. Yep. It's awesome to see the changes. And he didn't have somebody down his throat telling him to do it. So love and support him regardless. That's right. And he'll make change all by himself.
That's right. Yeah, it does really make you resentful when somebody, it almost makes you want to do the opposite.
Yes.
Sometimes.
I've seen that happen.
Or for me anyway.
Yeah, we were at a restaurant one night. And whatever, I remember what you ordered, and I gave you crap for it. So then you went on, she said, oh, and you looked at me and went, okay. And then she ordered the most nasty thing on the meal, just to give me one of those, right? And I went,
extra cheese and mayo too, please.
Yeah, you were like, I'll bacon on that. You know what I mean? It was like, wow, you know what I mean? And so,
that backfired.
Yeah, she had gas for 2 days. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you know what I mean? Just leave people alone. If they want to wear a mask while they're working out, leave them alone. You know what I mean? If they want to do whatever they want to do, leave people alone. I don't know why we got to get in everybody's business. You know what I mean? And if they're not hurting you and they're not causing a problem in your life, we just got to let people be. Let it be. I know there's an album that was made by a bunch of people back in the 60s. Let it be.
Yeah, let it be.
Let it be. Let it be. Let it be.
On
that note, everybody, thank you for another Tony Talks.